In the world of AI, things move so fast it's hard to keep up. But OpenAI just did something really interesting. They made two massive moves at the exact same time. On one hand, you've got this super flashy public event, their big DevDay, full of new products. But then, behind the curtain, they were inking this absolutely enormous kind of secret deal. So we're going to dig into both of these, the big show and the quiet foundational stuff happening in the background. So that really begs the question, right? What's the real story here? Is it the flashy new products that got all the headlines, the stuff everyone's buzzing about? Or is it this quiet, multi-billion-dollar backroom deal for the hardware that makes it all possible? Let's dive in and try to figure that out. Okay, so let's start with the spectacle. I mean, you have to. OpenAI's DevDay, this thing was a huge production. It was all about getting developers and really the entire tech industry hyped up about what they're calling the future of software. And wow, they really didn't hold back. I mean, the announcements just kept coming. The big one everyone latched onto was apps in ChatGPT. The idea is you can use stuff like Canva or book a flight on Expedia without ever leaving the chat. Super cool. Then they dropped the Agent Builder, a tool to let you create your own custom AI agents. Plus, they threw in a whole bunch of API updates and major upgrades to Codex, their coding AI. It was like drinking from a fire hose, for sure. And people went nuts for that apps feature. The comparison you heard over and over was the iPhone App Store. Seriously, think about it. Steve Jobs announces the App Store in 2008, and it changes everything for mobile. The thinking here is that with 800 million users, ChatGPT could do the exact same thing for a whole new generation of software. But it wasn't all applause, not by a long shot. While a lot of people were excited, a lot of developers were pretty harsh about that new Agent Builder tool. This quote just nails the feeling. AI was supposed to save us from UIs like this. The complaint was that this clunky drag-and-drop interface felt like a step backward. I mean, isn't the whole point of AI that you can just talk to it? Okay, so while the tech world is busy arguing about UI design, something way, way bigger was happening completely behind the scenes. We're talking about the actual foundation, the hardware that makes any of this stuff even possible. And this was no small thing. This was literally the biggest deal AMD has ever made. Ever. They're going to be supplying OpenAI with chips for get this, a 6 gigawatt AI build-out. To put that in perspective, that is an absolutely insane amount of power and compute. And for AMD, this is a massive win in their ongoing battle with NVIDIA. Okay, and this is where the story goes from big to just plain weird. As part of this whole thing, OpenAI gets the option to buy 160 million shares of AMD stock for a penny. A single penny per share. At the time, AMD's stock was over $50. That's a 99.9% discount. So you got to ask, how in the world does a deal like that even happen? It doesn't seem to make any financial sense. Well, Matt Levine from Money Stuff basically broke it down, and the logic is just incredible. The idea is that OpenAI basically told AMD, look, we're going to announce this deal with you, and that announcement alone is going to pump up your stock so much, it'll basically pay for the chips. It's like OpenAI is paying for hardware with pure hype from its own press release. I mean, what a wild, almost circular way to structure a deal. So why do something so unconventional? The answer in one word is desperation. The entire AI industry is in a flat-out war for one resource, computing power, what they call compute. And you don't have to take my word for it. Sam Altman, OpenAI's CEO, said it himself. He said, it's hard to overstate how difficult it's become to get enough compute. There's just a massive, critical shortage of these high-end AI chips, and that scarcity is what's driving these incredibly creative and aggressive deals. They're locking down their supply chain for years to come. So here's the key thing to understand. This isn't about OpenAI picking AMD over NVIDIA. Not at all. They're working with both. Their strategy is basically get chips from anywhere and everywhere we can. Sam Altman has this whole philosophy that right now the entire industry just needs to build. A rising tide lifts all boats, right? So more capacity is good for everyone, including both NVIDIA and AMD. So, as you can imagine, all this news sparked two totally different conversations. You've got Wall Street looking at this bizarre deal and screaming, bubble! And then you have the developers still arguing about whether these new software tools are actually a revolution or just more hype. The market's reaction? Oh, it was immediate and absolutely explosive.
AMD's stock just skyrockets, 24%, nearly hitting its all-time high. And it wasn't just them. Any company that got even a mention on stage at DevDay, HubSpot, Figma, you name it, their stock popped too. The hype was just, you could feel it.
And this really gets us to the heart of the whole debate. On the one hand, you've got the bubble watchers. They're pointing to these stupidly unbelievable deals and the stock frenzy and saying, hey, this looks a lot like 1999. But then on the other side, you have people saying, no, this is different. They argue the huge spending isn't based on debt, and more importantly, tools like Codex are already delivering massive, real-world productivity gains. Okay, so let's zoom out. Let's try to put these two pieces together, the flashy software show and the massive hardware deal, and see what the bigger picture looks like. When you look at it, what we're really seeing isn't just a product launch or some crazy business deal, it's a gold rush. It's a completely unprecedented, incredibly expensive race to build the future of AI. The flashy demos at DevDay, that's the promise of finding gold. And those bizarre billion-dollar hardware deals, that's them building the giant shovels and machinery to actually dig it up. You can't have one without the other. It's all part of the same massive race to build the entire AI stack. Which brings us to the final multi-trillion-dollar question. Are we watching history being made? Is this the foundation of a technology that will completely reshape the next 100 years? Or are we just watching the inflation of the next great tech bubble, getting bigger and bigger right before it pops? Right now, nobody knows for sure. The answer is literally being built one chip and one line of code at a time.